All right, welcome. Welcome to a chill KSP playthrough. That's what I decided to go with. Basically, in this series, what I want to do is uh, play KSP and play all the way through, so that I have visited every planet and every moon by probe, by lander, and by crew. Because I've got quite a few hours in KSP already, but I realized I never visited all the planets or all the moons, and I decided to do that and to, yeah, basically challenge myself to go to everything in the solar system or the Kerbol system, I guess. Um, but I also want to play chill and take it slow and go at my own pace, and especially have parts available. So normally I prefer sandbox just because you can build everything and you can design a really nice looking spacecraft and rocket. You have all the parts available to you and are really flexible. But I don't like about sandbox that you have basically no game loop and nothing to really achieve. So you can bring science instruments, but they really don't feel like they achieve anything because, you know, you have all the science already. And I really enjoy the library where you can check which planets you have explored already, which biomes. Uh, and I also like the contracts from time to time to see if there's something interesting in there. So what I did is I basically started a career playthrough, but I cheated myself the maximum amounts of funds and of science. Well, I didn't cheat. I gave it in the starting conditions, so I can start with a lot more, lot, yeah, a lot more parts. But I can also um, still have these features from the career mode, right? So that's basically what I did. And here you can see me unlock the uh, all the parts that are available with 5,000 science points, which brings you quite far along in the science tree, but not all the way there. And I took two contracts. I think I launched the first vessel, and I don't know what the second one was. But I took the first two contracts and I started to build a small basic probe. This is basically the Sputnik probe. It's just a metal ball with communications, but with no means to regenerate power, so it will die in orbit. But it doesn't really matter. It's like the first satellite in real life, right? And I built a small two-stage rocket. Very simple. Nothing like the real uh, space rocket which took me to orbit. But it would be a little bit overkill, and I also don't think I have the parts yet. So we are going nice and steady, and yeah, you can see I did a flip there, which I feel like always happens in the early game where you don't have SAS control, and at a certain altitude it just really wants to flip around, but you can also recover quite easily. And we're also getting some atmospheric heating, so not a great launch. Again, I really prefer the later stages of the game where rockets behave more reasonably, I would say. So we ditched our payload fairing, and we can see the satellite. And now we will coast until we are at our apogee, or apoapsis, I should say, and then finish our orbit insertion, which will be any minute now. You can see I deployed the antennas as well, so it looks a little bit nicer. I should think for the later missions that I include an action group where I can deploy these things automatically. But yeah, you can see now we are burning again to make our orbit circular. It's looking quite nice. I have some visual mods installed, which make everything look a little bit nicer. I have Eve for the environmental effects, for clouds and stuff. And you can see we are in orbit. I also did a second mission, which you can see now, which is more or less the same thing. I just built another probe, this time with batteries and with science equipment and with solar panels. So a means to generate power so it doesn't immediately die of a dead battery in orbit. Yeah, this would be the equivalent of Explorer 1, I guess, which was the first American satellite in orbit, and I think the second satellite in orbit generally. Um, and it came after the Soviet satellite. So, yeah, generating science and taking measurements, and so it was superior in that aspect. But again, a second. So I put the second probe on the launch pad, so we can gather some science. I think that was actually our second contract to gather scientific data, which we can do just on the launch pad. So we do basically a rehearsal of the science data gathering from when we are in orbit, which we will launch towards now. So the second launch is without sound, sadly, because I did live commentary at first, so I yapped all over it, and it is quite annoying to hear that in sped up footage. You can see I'm quite excited and explaining stuff with the mouse. So yeah, that's a little bit annoying, but I can't alter the footage now. Maybe next time I can turn off the mouse, so like the visibility in the screen capture, or I will just play silently because now I know I want to dub over. Yeah, it's basically the same launch as before. We use the same launch vehicle and we have burnout of our first stage and jettison all the things. So now we can burn for orbit with the second stage. Yeah, I have kind of this visual bug with the waterfall mod, another mod that I use. Maybe you know how to fix that. If you know, you can tell me. But yeah, we are in orbit right now. So the second probe is in orbit. I don't think I have talked about this, but I have named the first probe Sparrow 1, like as an homage to Sputnik 1, the first satellite in real life. They kind of sound a little bit similar, but I also want to have a common theme for my mission names, and I went with bird names for this run. So maybe not all missions will have that theme, maybe different kinds of missions will have different themes. I don't know. I haven't decided that yet. But yes, Sparrow 1 and Sparrow 2 are now in orbit. Sparrow 1 will probably be dead because of the battery, but Sparrow 2 will survive indefinitely now. Yeah, that was it for my first video. I think I will do 2 or 3 or just one mission per video, depending on how big and long the missions are, right? Yeah, I really don't have any clue how to make a video. This is my very first one. So if you watched so far, I really appreciate it. Thank you. If you have anything uh, you didn't like in this video where you think I can improve, I would love it if you can tell me that in a comment. Be nice. And also, I would love it if you could share this video on whatever platform. So yeah, I guess that's it for the outro. And yeah, see you later.